Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And today is Wednesday, and it's definitely after school because it's 10:40 p.m. on the East Coast. And even though I'm on the West Coast, my mind's still operating as if it's East Coast time for some reason. And we're just going to have a review, after school review of velocity banking. Because how do we get good at anything? We just do it over and over and over and over again, right? Now, in this video, we're going to always repeat the two things that are the requirements for the velocity banking that we always repeat in every single other video, right? And if you have no idea what velocity banking is, go ahead and click the link down below to Velocity Banking 101, and then you might want to come back here. But all it is a simple strategy where you could pay off debts using lines of credit, right? Okay, so what are the two requirements? Number one, we have it right here. We need a budget, and I have a budget of the average American who's making 5 grand a month, which is pretty good. That's about 81K gross. Now, if you look at the statistics from, I think the U.S. Census, it says that somewhere the average household income is around 70, 80K, right? So I don't think this is unreasonable for a household. Okay, and let's say we have a couple of credit cards, maybe a personal loan, we're paying rent, and then we got other things like food, gas, insurance. Who knows how much it costs nowadays because of inflation? But now we have a budget, right? And look at what we have here, only $287.11. So I don't know about you, but I'd feel a little nervous if I'm making 5 grand a month net and only have about $300 left over. Wouldn't you feel like a little, nervous? I'd feel nervous, right? So unfortunately, these credit card debts are killers, right? And so what we're going to do is learn how to pay these off using velocity banking. Now, in order to do velocity banking, we have to have something called a line of credit as our main operating account, right? So our main operating account is going to be something called our line of credit. Okay? So now, do we have a line of credit? Well, it depends. A credit card is a line of credit. Okay, a credit card is definitely a line of credit, but we have some restrictions because we can't pay one credit card with another unless we're doing a balance transfer, and maybe that's a lot of money because it's a 3% fee. Another thing that we have to consider is we can't pay the credit card one's minimum payment with the credit card one, right? Now, with a line of credit, like a personal home equity line of credit, you can exactly do that, and that's why they're so cool, right? So there's a saying that banks will only lend you money when you don't need it. So it's really important that we get as much credit as possible before we ever need it. So we have access to maybe a home equity line of credit or a personal line of credit. Now, me personally, I have over $220,000 in lines of credit, right? Most of them credit cards. I got one 15 grand personal line of credit and I got one 50 grand home equity line of credit. But let's just do some examples and just make it up right now. So let's just say we have a $10,000 personal line of credit. Okay, so let's do month zero. And what we're going to do is just kind of refactor our expenses and move around a few things so that we can pay off some debts, right? Pay off some debts and also, right? And also free up some cash flow. That's the most important thing, right? So if we had a bigger limit, this would be a lot easier, but we'll just, handicap ourselves. And I don't know if that's politically correct to say that nowadays, but we're going to just say we only got a $10,000 limit, right? And I know some of you are looking at this and say, oh my goodness, $10,000, that's a huge limit. It kind of is, but it depends, right? Because for me nowadays, that's a small limit. But I remember back in the day when I got like a $500 credit card, I would have been excited to get a five or $10,000 limit, So it just depends on what stage of life that you're at. Okay, so now what can we do? So what we have to figure out is understand how can we immediately free up some cash flow, right? And by paying off and doing some debt transfers, okay? And there's an easy formula that you can use called the cash flow index. Okay, so let's just go ahead and do this. Cash flow index. And all it is it ignores the interest rate and gives you a number. All it is, the formula is the statement balance divided by the monthly payment. So 20,000 divided by 700. And then you just kind of do the same thing, right? So 25,000 divided by 854.17. and then equals 5,000 divided by 133.33, and then this one is a personal loan. Now I was looking up like rates for personal loans by going to discover.com because I always get flyers and the ads in the mail for a personal loan, even though I have over $220,000 of lines of credit. Okay, so 15,000 divided by 325.39. Okay, and so what this is kind of like a ranking system, I guess you could say, of which debts you want to pay off first. Okay, so let me go ahead and do this, make this a little bit easier to read. So so this is actually from Garrett Gunderson's wealthfactory.com website. And what he says is that anything below 50 you want to pay off immediately, you get more cash flow, right? So I don't know if you heard of that. And you just kind of ignore the interest rate, and it's kind of like counterintuitive, but basically you want to pay off the one that has the lowest one first. So this is kind of like a ranking system. But the thing is that if I have a $10,000 line of credit, I can't really move this 20 grand in here, right? Or this 25 grand. But maybe I could just free up this 133 cash flow, okay? And what about this one, 15 grand? Well, I can't do that either, right? So again, it kind of depends of based on what you do. So you may want to just move this 5K down first, or just maybe move 10K from here because the payment will be so much lower anyways. So it depends on you, but maybe I might do this. I pay 10K here, and then I pay another 10K, so this is definitely freed up. So let's do that. So let's just assume that we have a $10,000 balance, okay? And now this has become 20K to 10K, okay? Now, obviously, this doesn't go away yet, but the payment is going to be lower, okay? So what we can do is go to a minimum credit card calculator. So minimum credit card calculator from Bankrate, you can use that one, okay? And then if we go to 20 grand, 20,000, and then we're going to say this is 30% interest rate, 30%. And then I'm just going to say 10. I'm sorry, not 20, 10. 10,000. Our minimum payment has dropped to 350. Okay. So now what we can do is just do this 350, right? And then now what is our cash flow? And if you don't know what velocity banking is, I'm sorry, all it is, the actual strategy itself is you're going to move your entire paycheck to the line of credit, and then you're going to use your cash flow to pay it down, right? So our cash flow is relatively small. It's only $637.11, but let's see how long it takes for us to pay it off, okay? So again, month one, and then again, as we pay off these debts, they're going to go down, okay? They're going to go down, but they won't go down that much, especially with these credit cards. So we're going to make this unrealistic assumption that these balances don't go down just to make the math easier, or maybe we'll check. Who knows? Maybe I'll actually do the work in this in this recording. So what I do is J2 plus K2 minus our cash flow 637.11, and as we pay off, again, with these credit cards, as we make more payments, the payments will kind of chip away a little. So maybe 2/3 of the payment will go to interest, and then 1/3 of the payment will actually go to the balance of the credit card. But let's just keep doing this. And then we have to calculate the interest. And the interest, it's supposed to be the average daily balance. So what we can do just as a way to estimate is take the midpoint as an average of J3, J2, and that should be, I guess, good enough, but it's not super accurate. Okay, so now what we do is just now we rinse and repeat the formula. And then once we do that, okay, so here's the other thing too. Let's do this. I might actually want to, once we have, so we move 10,000, right? So once we move another 10,000, or let's see at what point this 20K might go to 10,000. So 20, nah, I'm all over the place today. So let's go ahead and show the payment schedule. Calculate. So after how many, so you could see that it kind of barely chips away, but after 10 months, it'll be 9,000. So again, this is kind of be a harder situation. Hence, this is why we actually like to work with larger lines of credit, because if we can, free up a lot of cash flow just by consolidating our debts, that would be entirely awesome, right? But let's just do this and just go to 0, right? All right. So now let's figure out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12, 13, 14. And so at 14 months, let's see if we can move the rest of this balance there. Can we? So 14 months. So 14 months, it's 8,600. Can we move 8,600 to here? Let me just check. And what's the actual amount? 8678.46. So just as long as under 10,000, we should be good. But let's just check. No, we had to do next month. So what's the next month after 8678? So 8600.59. So let's go ahead and add that. Nope, still not. So we got to do one more month. 8514.59. See, a little bit more complicated if you work with a smaller line, right? And you don't have as much freedom and flexibility. Okay, so now, guess what? At this stage, and again, as obviously as we're going down, this is not going to be 350 cash flow up until this point, right? So this is a little bit inaccurate math, but let's see what happens here. Bam, we now have almost $1,000 of cash flow. Okay, so let me do this. 15, 16, and then we add that, and then now we replace it with our new cash flow of 987.11. Okay, right? And so now one of the things that I guess we can do is just move this 5K if there's 5K in available. So probably at the next point. Okay, so let's just do this. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Some of this is cowboy math just because I'm just estimating a few things, probably overestimating. But let's go ahead and move this 5K to this 10K line of credit. Okay, so let's see, probably at this stage I don't have enough, but at this stage I will. So plus 5000. Well, actually, let's figure out at what month are we? We are at month 22, what this 5K loan actually is. So 5000, whoopsie, let me just do this. 5000, what percentage is it? It's 20%. And I'm gonna go ahead, so 5000, and then at probably month 22, let's see what the balance is. 22, so 4008. So we could probably put maybe before here at month 20 or 21 or 22. So 22, 21. So let's put at month 20 this amount. So that's this amount at, right? And then what we're going to do is just move this here, okay, at month 20 or 21. Did I screw up? Hold on. 20. No, let's do 21. Sorry. All right. So now let's just do 21. And then let's see if I can make this work. And if it's under 10,000. Oh, it is under 10,000. Oh, hmm. So again, some trial and error here. So let's just do this and move this to month 20. Let's see if it works. Is it under 10,000? Oopsie. I always have to take out the comma. Yeah. All right, sweet. Now what does this do? This goes to 0. And then what's our new cash flow? $1,120.44. Sweet. Okay, so now let's go ahead and put in our new cash flow of 1,100. 1120.44. Okay, so 1120.44. And then I guess we just keep going until we're able to fit that 25K, right? So let me put in that credit card calculator, 25,000, 25,000 at 29%. 29%. Okay. And now let's figure out what month are we at. We're at month 23. Okay, so month 23. 23. We're at 19,000. Okay, so we're about 19,000. So we paid about $6,000 of the credit card, which is not bad, right? So let's go ahead and do this. All right. So, whoopsie, remove, and then just, I guess we could just keep going until this is 0. I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference. All right. So 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Again, this is going to be overestimated because these numbers in the credit card will go down eventually. So when you just keep paying it. So let me go here. So what month are we at? We're at month 29. Okay, so month 29, we're at 18,000. Okay, so 18,000. Okay, so now what can we do? We can just move 10K here. So let's, in the next month, we'll just move 10K, so plus 10,000, okay? And then if this is 10K, then this is actually going to be 8K. And now what's our new cash flow? So our new cash flow, so what we're going to do is just put 8,000, and then we'll figure out a new monthly payment will be 273.33. Okay, so now 273.33. All right, so now our new cash flow for the time being is 273.33. I probably need to do this more accurately just because like every single time you make a payment, these credit card payments change, so it's going to really affect your cash flow. So I'm overestimating a few things. I know that. All right, so now let's go here. And what's our new cash flow? It is 1701.28. So minus 1701.28. Okay, so now let's go ahead and keep going, and we're just gonna keep going and going, and then we're gone. So month 30, what column is this? L31? No, L32 plus 1. And so by the time we're at 36, well, actually, I should probably figure out when I added that, it's going to be 6 payments in of the 8,000. So what's the new balance? 7531.84. Okay. And I just have to add that here. And then guess what? This goes to 0, right? And so now we have $2,000 of cash flow. Okay. All right. So I promise if I actually did this in accurately, it definitely will be less than this just because of your cash flow increasing as you make more payments to the credit cards. Okay. So now what we have to do is now just keep going until this is zero, and then we could probably just chunk that personal loan. Well, let's just keep going. Whoopsie, I forgot to take. Okay, so we added this here, and then what's our new cash flow, which is 974.61. Okay, and then we just do that here, and then this goes to 0. And then let's check it out. After 40 months, this would probably, a lot of it will be paid off, I think. But let's just check. So 15,000. Is it 15,000? Yeah, 15,000. 325.39. Okay, put that here. And then let's figure out, let's look at the monthly schedule and how many payments in are we in? We're in 40. So 40, what's this, the balance of the thingy, the loan? Why am I calling it a thingy? So it's about $6,000. Okay. So $6,000. So we paid off about how much? $5,000? No, $10,000 of this. And what's our new cash flow index? So equals 5926.37 divided by 325.39. So it's the lowest now because, again, a lot of the principal has been chipped away. So why don't we just move it to line of credit and increase our cash flow and pay it off? Okay, great. So let's go ahead and do that. So now at this point, we're going to go ahead, add this here. Okay. Add that there. And then guess what? Now we're at maximum cash flow, 2,300. Okay. So now we're going to subtract 2,300 as our new cash flow. Right? And so now we're full speed ahead. Okay, so now how long did it take for us to pay off this debt? And again, I'm overestimating because we didn't do the most accurate calculations, because as the more you pay off the credit card debt, the more your minimum payments go down, which increases your cash flow, right? Now, if we had a home equity line of credit that had a huge limit, we could take care of this easily. But because we're unfortunately only able to get a $10,000 personal line of credit, it was a little bit harder to manage this. Or we could probably use one of the lines of credit as our main Velocity banking account, and that could have been a big help as well, right? So if we're able to get a personal line of credit, and I've done other videos about just using credit cards only for Velocity banking, but unfortunately you do have to leave some money into checking savings in order to pay off the minimums of the other cards, but you use one card as your main operating account, right? Okay, so let's just do milestones and figure out how long it took and how much we paid off. So how much debt did we pay off? 65K of debt. Okay, so 25, 35. Is this 65K? Yeah, it's 65K. 20, 30. Wow, 65K. Let me just confirm that. 20 plus 25 plus 5 plus 15 plus, I think that's it, right? Yeah, 65. And so what's the milestone? Under 43 months. We'll say under 43 months because it's not going to take you 43 months. So under 43 months, 65K. Oopsie, 65K. And then 43 divided by 12. So that's about 3.5 years for this person to be debt free, which is not bad, right? Now, obviously, we don't want to get into this situation here where we have all this debt, and the best time to get lines of credit is before you ever need it. So, banks like to look at DTI ratios and other factors too if they figure out they're going to lend you money. So if you're like paycheck to paycheck, you have all this debt and you maxed out your credit cards, Getting that line of credit might be a little bit hard. So just again, always get it when you don't need it, right? Okay, so that's pretty much it for today. Another successful review. Hopefully, you understood all this because sometimes I just wing it and think of a situation as I'm recording, and I hope I don't trip myself, but sometimes I do. But okay, yeah, that's about it for today. Happy Wednesday. It's after school, literally 11:05 p.m. on East Coast time. Have a great day, everybody, and we will do another review soon. Bye, everybody. Oh, one other thing. If you're interested in joining our group, go ahead and click the Google form link below. And so not only do we learn about financial literacy, but we also learn about real estate investing. So if that's something you're interested in learning, go ahead and click that Google form link below. Other than that, bye, everybody.